Hello, everyone. My name is Krista Tweed, and this video is going to describe how to set up an efficiency map using the eDrive Power Analyzer from HBK. I will assume a basic knowledge of eDrive. I'm not going to do everything from the start, just really focus in on that efficiency map and all the settings that need to be in place. When you're taking an efficiency map, you're measuring a large number of set points, torque and speed typically, and interested in just taking a snapshot of data at each one of those points. So our data recording is going to make the selection. Our start of data recording will be wait for trigger to trigger memory first. That means perception is only going to write data to disk when that trigger is received. As far as how much data is written to disk, you can decide if you set that via a time or a number of cycles. I'm just going to leave it as a time for today to be straightforward and simple. The number of cycles does require you to, typically you're going to have an automation system in place, because then you need a trigger arm where the automation system sends a trigger to the power analyzer. It's going to make sure it's ready to record. It'll take a sweep, and then it sends a trigger arm finished message back to the automation system. So then the automation system knows it can go on to that next step. At the bottom of the ePower Suite control panel, you'll see the set point storage area. You want to be sure you have set point storage enabled. What that does is it means that Perception's going to record two different files simultaneously as we go through this test. We'll record the normal PNRF file with the raw data and all the calculated values. The set point file is actually a table. It's either a CSV or an XML file that has the points that are used to create the 3D map of the efficiency map. So we will create that file automatically while the recording is taking place. To determine what format that file has, you're going to click the generic settings button here, go to the averaging tab, and right here you can select if you want that set point file to be in either CSV or XML format, depending on what post-process program you might use to go and manipulate that data some more. You can also select the time format for the time column in that set point file. Relative to start of recording means that when I hit start my recording, that's time t equals 0, and time increases from there. Absolute local time is going to take the time from my perception PC. So whatever time zone my perception PC is in, that will be the local time that will be used for those time markers. You can also choose absolute UTC time, which just means your local time is converted into absolute UTC time. You also see set point and meter averaging. You have the ability to turn on additional averaging on top of whatever may be in your cycle detect setup, either time-based or number of cycles, just to increase the accuracy of all of those points that are being shown both in the meters and in that set point file. This question mark right here, if you will click it, then that's going to open a little tech note that tells you about the set point and meter averaging options that are there and how that works. So you can read that tech note to get into the nitty-gritty details. Once you've done that, you're ready to create your mapping window. So you can come here and click this Create Mapping button. I already have mine created, so I'm just going to go ahead and go to that sheet. The sheet that gets created has a 3D plot on the left and a set point table on the right. The first time that you click that button on any specific PC, you're going to have a message in the middle of this set point map section that tells you need to download a MATLAB plugin. That is a free of charge plugin. We have a link right in that message that you click the here, and it's going to download that file, close Perception, install that MATLAB plugin, restart Perception, and now you're going to see that 3D plot just like you do here. You will also need to go to the three dots in the upper left-hand corner of the set point map and choose Properties. and then tell perception what parameters you want on the x-axis, the y-axis, and the z-axis. You also have lines in a secondary or options in the secondary tab to set contour lines and color map details as far as how you want that 3D plot to be built. On the set point table side, again, you're going to click the three dots, choose properties, and you're going to be able to select what values you want to see in this set point table area. I typically just pick torque, speed, and efficiency, but if you like monitoring power or current, RMS of voltage, you can select those values and choose to see them in real time. So I think that's all we need to do to be ready to go. I am gonna put my system in pause mode and start my simulator. I'm gonna go over to the ePower suite and make sure everything seems okay as it gets going. Yep. So I'm gonna go ahead and start a recording. And now you can see it's waiting for trigger. So I'm gonna go back to my mapping page and give it a trigger. And I'll just click that trigger every few seconds here so that we get some data points. And the most efficient way to do this is to have an automation system giving remote commands so that you don't have a human in the loop. That can make this process much, much faster. That just gives us a few varieties of triggers there. All right, and then I'm going to stop my acquisition. And now let's check and look at what some of our data looks like here. So I'm going to auto scale. We can see all the triggers across the top of my display. I'm going to right click and auto scale everything on. So you can see with this sweeps type acquisition, I literally have a small set point of data at each of those points. Now, if I want to more easily view a single triggered sweep, I can click on the hamburger menu, and instead of choosing a recording here, I'm going to choose sweep and then auto scale. And now I have one sweep worth of data I'm looking at, in this case, trigger number 1 of 20. I'm going to choose Control T just to put my active cursor there. I can use Control T. Now I'm looking at trigger 2, trigger 3, trigger 4. I also show the sweep number down at the bottom. I can also use these pink arrows down here in the lower right corner of the display to step through those sweeps and look at that at each individual sweep more easily than having to zoom in each time. Now for the set point file itself, I want to see where that's stored. I'm going to go to my settings sheet. I'm on the acquisition page. I'm going to open my folder where I'm saving my data. You can see recording 28 is the one I just recorded. I'm going to go to my set point mapping folder, and I also have a recording 28 CSV file. And that file is going to have all of the set point files, you know, those individual parameters that are there for each trigger that was recorded. So now I could easily take that file to MATLAB and recreate my 3D plot without having to go back and process all of that raw data manually to then get those points and be able to create my efficiency map. And I think that's the big picture that I wanted to share. So if you have questions, don't hesitate to contact us. If you're in the Americas, the email is support@usa.hbm.com. If you're anywhere else in the world, the email is support@hbkworld.com.